My aim is to get out GP's library videos each Wednesday. I've been aiming for that. I've been getting close, but expect to be seeing book reviews weekly. So you guys, they say it's good as a YouTuber to get a schedule going. So I'm going to try to stick to a weekly schedule. And I don't think I have anything else for introduction today. Appreciate you guys coming back. I'm obviously standing up today. I wanted to try something different. I feel kind of rigid. I'm trying to stay in front of this green screen. Maybe I'm letting out too much information. Let's get started. Today I actually am reviewing the book Yearbook by Seth Rogen. I'm actually going to take off the cover as well because I think what's behind it is pretty cool. So seemingly some portraits, I'm guessing, from some of his favorite people, and then also some fictional characters. But yeah, so today I'm talking about Yearbook. Obviously I read the physical copy and I finished it December 4th, 2023, so not that long ago, at the beginning of last month. So this book is still pretty fresh in my mind. It's kind of a random collection of stories. It's a little bit like the Action Bronson book in that way, that it's not really like a direct line from here to here. I was here, a normal person, this is how I got success. It's not completely that. It's more like the Jesus and Mero book, where here's some stuff that I picked up along the way. You know, I'm here where I'm at, if you call this pretty successful, which obviously these guys are, and this is how I got here, kinda, in a different array of stories. So my first main takeaway is just like differing views. I think it's important to read books from people who have different viewpoints, differing backgrounds, differing religions, sexuality, all that type of stuff, to grow empathy. He does talk about some Judaism in the book, and I've noticed that what some communities feel is their truth, other communities either don't understand or don't even agree with, stuff like that. This happens with black people all the time, in my opinion. And there were things that he pointed out, how a Jewish person would see a situation that I would have never thought about the situation in that point or in that way. I just, as a black person, as the guy I am, black American man that I am, would have thought a completely different opinion about a certain situation. But just reading some of his stories really opened my mind up to the perception of somebody in his community. And I'm sure he doesn't speak for everybody in the Jewish community, but still just finding and seeing these different viewpoints, I think, is extremely important. Not just reading everything that aligns with everything you've believed before, or the things that your parents taught you, the things you learned from your area, your community. I feel like it's important to branch out and learn stuff from other communities as well. Another point that I have is that you can really create what you want. I said this with the Action Bronson book as well. He's another multifaceted artist, so he's done comedy in the past. He obviously has done a lot of pottery stuff, if you kept up with him now, and like his houseplant brand. He does like music, like compilations and stuff like that. He obviously writes movies, he acts in movies. So whatever creative venture he's feeling at the time, that's what he's diving into. And I think that's something cool to learn from. I think it's always cool to create in all these different type of ways, because there's no need to put yourself in a box of what you should be creating or what you were even taught to create. You should create what you enjoy creating, and I think that's an important lesson. He started doing stand-up comedy when he was like 15, 16 years old. So his mom would sit in the back of a comedy club while he performed, and he didn't have fear. And that's a lesson. I think we should all try to be a little bit more childlike in our fears sometimes, because a lot of times children will just go do something. Kids will just go do whatever. They'll draw something and try to show it to everybody, even if it looks awful, objectively. But it's important to create with that type of confidence of a child sometimes, of just being carefree and not worrying about judgment and self-judgment so much. I really want to take that away from this book, is to create as a child. And linked onto that is my last main point, is that supportive parents do wonders. A parent that doesn't try to push a kid into a certain direction, but allows them, I mean, obviously morally, yeah, in a certain direction, stuff like that, but in terms of a life path into a certain direction, and allow that child to explore that. You can get a Seth Rogen at such a young age because the kid feels open to be creative and to explore. I know a lot of people don't have those parents, but as me, being someone, I guess you could say a prospective parent, I'm not trying to have kids right now, but eventually have kids in the future, it's amazing how much a parent that encourages a kid and then backs them up and then supports them in that endeavor without being too pushy, what that can do for kids. Like, if you watch that Kanye documentary, if you listen to a lot of people who've had supportive parents but that didn't necessarily coddle them but like supported them, that's a beautiful thing. In any venture, even if that venture didn't line up, most people will not want their 15-year-old kid on a comedy stage, and most people will not sit in the back of a comedy club while their 15-year-old kid performed every single week. But she was willing to do it, and she got Seth Rogen. I watched a Shaun White documentary. His parents learned how to snowboard with him to make it a family activity. Like, these are the type of things I feel like are needed to make Shaun White's and Seth Rogen's. So who's it for? Obviously Seth Rogen fans, if you're a fan of his movies, if you're a fan of his work, if you're a fan of Houseplant, if you're a fan of... He's kind of like a mogul in a way that, like, he's just like a person. Like, kind of like Snoop Dogg. Obviously he's a person, but Snoop Dogg, to where, like, you don't have to like Snoop Dogg's music. You don't have to have like his acting to like him as a person. He's like a cool guy. If you want to learn more about him, if you want to learn how he got to where he is, if you just want to learn more about him, check out the book. Comedy fans, he had a unique route into comedy writing. I mean, not unique, actually. He started as a stand-up, moved into writing movies and TV shows and stuff like that. That's not that uncommon, but he did it at such a young age, and he attacked it in a different type of way, and he learned when stand-up wasn't his thing and moved on to something else. I feel like learning when to quit is important, and seeing that somebody accepted, all right, I gave it a good 10 years and I'm not where I want to be at all, and I'm not really progressing, and being honest enough to know maybe this isn't my thing, maybe I have a different skill set that I could utilize more, and clearly he did. Lastly, who's it for? Just artists who want to create. He's a creative guy. He's created a lot of different things, a lot of movies, obviously, all that pottery, all helped with TV shows. He's acted, and he's created so much content and so many things that I think it's always useful to learn from other creators, even if they're not your favorite. I'll pick up books of people. I read Sidney Poitier's book. I've never even watched one of his movies before. But when an artist has success, they have some answers. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. Lastly, I always like to bring up action steps, what I want to take from the book, what I want to apply to my own life. And it's what I said earlier, which is to create like a child. To create without worrying about judgment, without self-judgment. Just create, put it out, see what happens, learn, rinse, and repeat. But not be so hung up on what it is, and more in knowing that it's what I want to do, and it's the time in which I want to do it, like right now. That this is what I want to be doing right now. This is what I should do. That's how kids think. And when it comes to creating, I think that's a good approach, especially when you're trying to get that momentum pushing forward. I'll hold up the cover you would see at the store with his face in the middle. But this is Yearbook by Seth Rogen. This has also been another episode of GP's Library. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I should have brought this up early in the episode, but I do have a GP's Library Instagram and Threads. It does say GPS__ library, so I feel like that might be a little bit confusing and it might need to change in the future. But I just wanted to get something started, as well as a GP's Library podcast. I guess we're diving in. But it's been another episode of GP's Library, and I will see you guys next time.